Hey, welcome back. We're going to talk today about something that could literally save your health this fall, learning to read your nervous system's distress signals before you hit that wall. If you're someone who's been pushing through exhaustion, ignoring your body's signals, or wondering why you feel so depleted during what should be a season of abundance, right? This video is for you. I want to start by saying something really important here. Your body is always communicating with you. The problem is that many of us have learned to actually override those signals or interpret them as inconveniences rather than valuable information. Especially if you're someone who's been the reliable one, the strong one, the person others depend upon. You might have gotten very good at pushing through symptoms that are actually your nervous system's way of asking for help. So let me share a story that illustrates this perfectly. I had a client, we're going to call her Jennifer just for anonymity purposes, who came to me because she kept getting sick every September. Like clockwork. As soon as late summer hit, she developed recurring infections, her energy would crash, and she'd feel emotionally overwhelmed. She was frustrated because she felt like her body was actually betraying her right when life got busy with back to school season and family obligations, things like that. When we dug deeper, we discovered that Jennifer's body, well, it wasn't betraying her, it actually was protecting her. Her nervous system had learned that the only way to get her to rest was to literally force her through illness. She had become so skilled at overriding her earlier exhaustion signals that her body literally had to escalate to get her attention. It's not uncommon here. This is what I call your nervous system's SOS, the increasingly urgent signals that your body sends when it needs support. The tragedy is that most of us miss these early signals and only pay attention when our body has to shout through symptoms that can't be ignored. Your nervous system, well, it has a hierarchy of communication. It starts with subtle signals. Maybe you feel a little bit more tired than usual, or maybe you might notice that your patience is shorter and running thin, or you find yourself craving certain foods, another really common one. If those signals get ignored, it escalates to more obvious symptoms like sleep disruption, digestive issues, or emotional overwhelm. If those get pushed through, well, it actually escalates to illness eventually, injury, or complete total burnout and exhaustion. That's where I've been. Here's what I want you to understand. Every symptom is information. Your body isn't randomly malfunctioning. It's responding to the demands you're placing on it and the resources you're giving it to cope. When we learn to read these signals early and respond appropriately, well, we can prevent the escalation to more serious symptoms. So let me break down the most common late summer SOS signals that I actually see. Sleep disruption that goes beyond just schedule changes. You're tired but wired and your mind won't shut off, or you wake up feeling, right, that you actually never rested. Energy crashes that don't match your activity level. You feel exhausted after social events or emotionally intense conversations, but not to the degree that you should, right? Digestive issues that correlate with stress rather than food. Stomach upset during family dynamics, loss of appetite during overwhelm, or told that you were too sensitive as a child, or maybe you learned that your needs were inconvenient or less important than others. Maybe you developed the ability to function while depleted because you had to. Here is the thing. Just because you can push through symptoms doesn't actually mean that you should. Your body's capacity to adapt to stress is finite. And every time you override its signals, you're withdrawing from your health bank account, I like to think of it. Eventually, that account becomes overdrawn, and that's when we see more serious health issues start to come up. I want to talk a little bit specifically about late summer because this season actually presents unique challenges for sensitive people and sensitive nervous systems. This is when everyone's stress levels kind of tend to increase with back to school energy, schedule changes, and social obligations. Everyone's relaxed summer attitudes is starting to shift. So if you're someone who absorbs others' emotions, you're not just dealing with your own seasonal stress. you're actually processing the collective anxiety of everyone around you. Your nervous system experiences this as a compound load because you're actually managing your own feelings about summer ending and routines changing, plus you're absorbing and processing everyone else's feelings about these transitions. Your body actually ends up responding to this compound stress as if you're personally experiencing multiple crises simultaneously. And this is why late summer can actually feel so overwhelming even when your individual circumstances haven't dramatically changed. You are metabolically processing the way you're processing more than just your own life. One of the most important things I teach my clients is the difference between tired and depleted. Tired, on one hand, is what happens after appropriate exertion. You use energy, you rest, and you restore, right? But then depleted is what happens when you're operating at a deficit for extended periods of time. You're using more energy than you're restoring, and your body starts breaking down its own resources to keep functioning. Many of my clients come to me thinking that they're just tired, but when we assess their patterns, we find they're actually chronically depleted. I'm speaking from personal experience here. The difference matters because tired recovers with rest, right? But depleted, well, it requires more intensive restoration and often involves addressing the patterns that created the depletion in the first place. So here's how to tell the difference in your own life. If you wake up tired, even after adequate sleep, or rest doesn't actually restore your energy, if you feel exhausted by things that used to energize you, or if you need stimulants just to function normally, well, you're likely dealing with depletion rather than simple fatigue or tiredness. The SOS signals I want you to pay attention to, in particular for this season, include changes in your emotional regulation, finding yourself more reactive or overwhelmed by things that usually might not bother you. This often means that your nervous system's capacity is frankly maxed out and doesn't have resources left for emotional processing. Another key signal is what I call caring fatigue. When the thought of helping others or managing relationships feels overwhelming to you rather than fulfilling. This compassion fatigue isn't because you're becoming selfish. It's actually because your system is trying to preserve resources for your own personal basic functioning. Physical symptoms to watch out for include changes in appetite, either eating more or actually to cope with stress, or losing appetite altogether when maybe you're overwhelmed. Your digestive system is intimately connected to your nervous system. So digestive changes often reflect emotional and stress-related overload. Sleep patterns is another one to look for. So sleep changes are huge indicators. If you're having trouble falling asleep because your mind won't shut off, or if you're waking up frequently during the night, well, your nervous system is likely stuck in a hypervigilant state from processing too much stress during the day. And the most important thing that I want you to take from this video is that responding to your nervous system's early signals, it's not giving in to weakness. It's preventing breakdown. When you honor your body's communications early, well, you can then make small adjustments that then prevent major crashes later on down the road. This might mean saying no to social events when you're already depleted. It might mean setting boundaries around how much emotional labor you provide during busy seasons. It might mean scheduling recovery time or after emotionally intense situations rather than immediately jumping into the next obligation. Your nervous system's SOS signals are gifts of information that allow you to course correct before you hit that wall. The goal isn't to never feel stressed or overwhelmed. That's unrealistic, frankly. The goal is rather to help you develop enough body awareness so that you can then respond to stress signals with appropriate support rather than pushing through until your body forces rest through illness or burnout. And as we head into fall, I want you to practice checking in with your nervous system multiple times a day. You can simply stop and ask yourself, what is my energy level right now? What is my emotional capacity? Or what does my body need? And then actually listen to the answers. Your body has been keeping you alive and functioning all this time. However, often despite being given inadequate resources for the work that it's really doing. It's time to start treating those SOS signals as valuable information rather than inconvenient interruptions to your productivity. In my next video, I'm going to share specific nervous system techniques that you can actually use when you notice these early warning signals. These are tools that can help you support your system before it escalates to more serious symptoms. And until then, practice listening, practice believing that your body's signals matter, practice responding to your needs before they become emergencies. Your nervous system is trying to take care of you. It's time to partner with it rather than override it. Your health is not separate from your ability to read and respond to these signals. This is fundamental self-care that creates the foundation for everything else you want to do in your life. So take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.